Good day, everyone. My name is Anna. For today, I am going to give you an update on my greenhouse, which is now empty of plants and it's now becoming a storage house like it does every year because it has finally warmed up here in Vegas. And I was able to move all my plants from inside my greenhouse into my backyard. So here they are now. Well, almost all my plants. I still have a few plants in my garage, so I still have to work on that in the next few days. But at least all my plants that used to be in my greenhouse are now outside here in my backyard. This video is actually a video answering a query from one of my followers in YouTube. So Wonder Gardens asked, do you have any videos or posts touring your outdoor setup, working on a build of my own here in Vegas? So curious what others are doing. So Wonder Gardens, this video is for you. So I will briefly give you guys an overview of my outdoor setup. This is my backyard. So the back of the house faces east northeast. So this part of the house gets morning sun from about 8 o'clock in the morning, and the sun would shine here until around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So like I said before, I do have a greenhouse. It's over there, but I only use my greenhouse during winter time, which is around 3 to 4 months here in Vegas. So last year I moved my plants to my greenhouse around late November, early December, and I took them out first week or second week of April. Actually, it is already very late. Normally in previous years it would warm up like late February, but this year the winter weather here in Vegas just lasted too long. Early April we were still getting night temperatures in the 30s. That is why this year it is the latest that I've moved my plants outside my greenhouse. Anyway, so going back to my setup, this rack came from inside the greenhouse. This rack as well used to be inside my greenhouse, and likewise this rack over here. So this rack over here, as you can see, the greenhouse shades it. So this is where I usually place my shade loving plants like Haworthias. I put them in here. The tiny the little cacti seedlings, I also place them in here because it gets bright shade but not direct sun. And then as I move here, okay, so this area, as you can see, gets a lot of sun. Right now I have this shade cloth on top. This is a 50% shade cloth. Actually, now that it is spring, I don't need that shade cloth yet. I just put it up for you guys to be able to see how it is the rest of the year. So this shade cloth, normally I would put it up when our temperatures reaches around 90 degrees, constantly 90 degrees and above during daytime, because that's when the sun gets too much for my cacti. So a lot of them show signs of burning when the morning temperatures is constantly at 90 degrees or above. So normally I just installed it just to be prepared, but I can easily unhook them, so you can see. So maybe later on I will unhook them so they will get full morning sun. So this is just for you guys to see how I do it. So that's a 50% shade cloth, which I find is very necessary, especially during the summer. So this is full sun, that's 50% shade cloth. Okay, so the cacti, I place them on this side of the house because this I found is the best position where small cacti, and especially the delicate ones, can thrive without burning. If I put them elsewhere in our yard, say on that side, which where I have my desert gardens, and on that side a lot of them will burn. So on this side of the house I can only place the toughest of my plants. So I have trichocereus, opuntias in there. So the toughest of my plants are planted in this side and they get full sun, except in summertime I do set up a shade cloth here, like a 40 to 50% shade cloth on top of this at the height of our summer season. Here I am from another angle. It is now 12:30 in the afternoon, and as you can see, the sun is starting to move, so this is now starting to get shadier. You know, the sun will move this way. I just moved the plants yesterday, so I'm not done yet. There's still a lot of spaces in the racks, and I still have a big mess here and the center table, so I still have to situate all those pots. I have a small table here where I have cacti. Now this gets direct morning sun until around 12 noon, and then by the middle of the day it benefits from the shade of this tree right here. But then as the sun moves in the afternoon to here, this would again get direct sun at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then under the tree right here, same thing. Excuse the mess, guys. I'm still cleaning up. But this tree, the same way, they get direct morning sun, and then they get a little bit of shade around noontime, and then late in the afternoon they will again get afternoon sun. The bottom shelf of the rack right there, since it just gets bright shade, that's where I will keep my haworthias. I already placed some of them in there, but I have more. And then in this rack here, I will be moving my cacti seedlings there. Right now they're still in my garage, so when I move them out of the garage, they will get this spot right here, because this spot only gets bright shade and not direct sunlight. During springtime, I try to give my cacti the most amount of sunlight that they can receive without burning. I noticed that sunlight really makes a difference in terms of blooming, because it's what makes them bloom profusely. So lots of cacti would normally bloom during springtime, but if they receive more sunlight, in my experience, it makes them bloom a lot. Take a look at this mammillaria. Okay, so this, as you can see, I have a gap here in the shade cloth. So this area here, they get direct sunlight, so they don't benefit from the shade cloth. And look at this mammillaria bowl. Wow, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of flowering that I want, like profuse blooming. Okay, so abundant blooming. So the more sunlight that they get, the more blooms that they produce. See, this one too, this is an echinocereus. Look at all those buds that formed on it. I mean, I just hope they don't drop their buds. But yeah, all those that are receiving direct sunlight, they have multiple blooms on them. And that is the reason why I try to give them the most amount of sunlight that they can take during springtime. I mean, I grow my cacti hard, guys. I push them to their limits, sometimes too much that they burn, but that is the way I can make them bloom really profusely. So I grow my cacti not really for, you know, how they look, but more on the flowers that they produce. So I try to push them hard, grow them hard, because that is the only way that I notice that they will really produce abundant flowers. This side of my garden gets a lot of sunlight, and that is why the trichocereus here are ahead in terms of forming their flower buds. So as you can see, the flower buds are now big compared to the trichocereus that I have here in a more shadier part. I can barely see a few buds just starting to form right now. But then again, during summertime, I will have to protect this side because it gets too hot for them. So I will put up the shade cloth to bring down the temperature. You have to also consider the microclimate in your area. As you can see, I am in the middle of the city and I'm surrounded in a concrete jungle. As you can see, my yard is surrounded by concrete walls and we have houses blocking the airflow. So during the summertime, it is usually 10 degrees hotter here in my backyard, and that is the reason why I have to give extra protection on these plants using a shade cloth, even though they are the toughest among my cacti plants. Here is another section again in my backyard that gets a lot of sunlight, another section of my desert garden. That totem pole cactus is actually showing signs of burning, so I would have to protect that very early. If you can take a look at our sky, look guys, I can hardly see, or I don't see a single cloud in our sky. That is why the UV rays here in the desert is really very intense, that even though these are desert cacti, they can easily burn without protection. Let's move on to the last part of my backyard where I have cacti planted in the ground. So this area here is another desert garden, and it gets shade during the middle part of the day. It is now 1 p.m. and this tall palm trees gives them shade. Except for that part over there, they still get direct sunlight even this time of the day. As you can see, those there gets a lot of sun, but this guys here will get direct sunlight later during the afternoon. That is it for my video for today. So my follower in Instagram, Wonder Gardens, I hope I was able to answer your question. Right now, it is already 1:30 in the afternoon and this part is already shaded and the sun is moving in this direction. Alright, don't forget to follow me guys in Instagram. It's Cactus Caffeine USA. In Facebook, it is Cactus Caffeine. And hopefully in my next videos, I will be able to show you more flowers. Like I said, winter lasted too long this year and we are just starting to warm up. So flower buds are still developing very late this year. Hopefully in my next videos, I can show you guys more flowers. But until next time, bye everyone and cheers!